I'm a little tired, Jason.
I'm a little tired too, and you know what they say about, when you train and you run behind a car, you get exhausted.
Guys, we've been pushing it hard on the Florida Panhandle Adventure Trail. That was pretty good.
I didn't harmonize. I didn't know it was a duet.
And as you guys know, we hit some pretty heavy rain early on. We had to kind of shorten our first day. And we had another huge swath of rain, a big winter storm crossing Florida today.
Bearing down on us. We
basically decided we needed to take a break, and we found this really cool place. It's called the Lodge at
Wakulla Springs.
I keep saying Wakulla.
That's what it sounds like.
Wakulla Springs. This is a really amazing place. Absolutely beautiful, famous. We're going to be able to do an entire episode for you guys showing you some of the neat things around this area and why you should make this a stop on your trip if you do the Panhandle Adventure Trail.
Fantastic. We're about to take some boat rides. We're about to talk about a little bit of history, see some mastodon teeth, and I might even teach Chris to play chess.
Photo Adventures is on the road.
Going up, sir? Yes, sir. First floor, women's wear, laundry detergent, and supplies. Second floor, lift shoes for the men, and a tuxedo and a tie if you prefer. Have a great day, sir. Let me get this door for you.
Good morning. I am Captain Paul. We are stuck with each other for about the next 45 minutes. I'm going to try to show you a good trip. How many have been here before? Okay, a few of you. That's good. It's a special place. I'm going to try to impress you and make you think it's special. This boat is only about 2 months old. We're very grateful to have this new fleet of boats. The old boats were built in the 1960s. They were very, very tired. So we're grateful to have these newer ones. How many have been over on the dive tower? Anybody been there yet? Okay, well you know what the dive tower is all about. The dive tower marks the location of Wakulla Spring. It's directly underneath that dive tower. Wakulla Spring is the largest spring in the world. The Native Americans that were here first had no idea where all this water was coming from. They couldn't understand it. They had no knowledge of underground springs. They simply called it mysterious water. And the word that they used in their language for mysterious was Wakulla. But let's push off and let's see what we can find on the river this morning.
We took a day off because of the rain. We're riding this Panhandle Adventure Trail and we're kind of, a bunch of wimps. So we decided to stay hunkered down. We're at the lodge at Wakulla State Park.
Wakulla, yeah.
And we have met our new best friend, Clay.
Yes, man. Pleasure to meet y'all. I've been at Wakulla Springs for... This time I just came back. I've been with the company Guest Services. I was with them for about 4 years. I used to travel with them. Before I traveled with them, I was here for about 3 years. And I've been coming to Wakulla Springs since I was a kid. So Wakulla Springs, I feel like is has a lot of history. Edward Ball actually took it over a long time ago. But before then, it was just a spring, natural. The people would come drink out of it. It was just a beautiful place. Cold water. I think the water stays 65 degrees year round.
69, the boat
69, 69 degrees year round.
Amazing.
And it's just like one of those places. You jump in and you just feel refreshing. I was like, whoo, this reminds me of Wakulla Springs,
right.
And it was definitely a natural cleanse. Old Joe, the alligator, it's a lot of historic things, even Tarzan.
Wakulla Springs is one of the places that a number of historic movies, old classics, were filmed. One of the ones was based on the Edgar Rice Burroughs books Tarzan in 1912. In the 1930s, a model and swimmer, an Olympic swimmer named Johnny Weissmuller, became the face and the sound of Tarzan. Now, one of the things that you might remember about Tarzan is the yell. Let's see if I can do this thing. That's pretty good. My dad loved this show, and he used to love reading the Edgar Rice Burroughs books as well. There is a bit of a controversy about where that sound came from. MGM Studios has a version, Johnny Weissmuller has a version, the producer has a version, and the sound technician has a version. The only verbal description that we have of it in the Edgar Rice Burroughs books is that it was the victory cry of the bull ape. Well, okay, that's fine, but what does that sound like? Weissmuller designed, he says, that sound from the German yodelers that used to live by his house. Well, the producer said that was cool and it sounded fine, but it needed a little more. So the sound engineer said he should add some stuff to it. The hyena's yell played backwards, a camel's bleat, the pluck of a violin, and a soprano's high C seemed to add something to it. So whether you think it was Weissmuller's own voice, perhaps it was a sound engineer's design, or some other variation, we all know what that sounds like, and we all love the Weissmuller movies.
And they're good for 20 more minutes. Florida has about 6,500 manatees. They look like a submarine or maybe a torpedo in the water. So if you think you see a manatee, let me know and I'll try to get you a close view of one. We're turning a corner here as we go down the river. We're going to leave civilization behind because we are the only boat authorized to be on the water right now. That means we're not going to see any other people for probably about the next 45 minutes. Now there was a gator in the water. We're going by it. It was on the left side. You didn't miss much. All you could see was just his nose. Turn this corner and look downstream. Look straight ahead. You'll get an idea of how big this river really is. And remember, all of this water is coming out of that one spring up by the dive tower. Well, we had a pretty good trip in spite of the weather. We did see some alligator activity. We saw lots of manatees, saw birds, beautiful river.
We had a beautiful wildlife tour this morning down the Wakulla River on this amazing boat with our captain showing us tons of great wildlife. We had egrets and herons and got to see some alligator and even a bunch of manatees. This Wakulla Spring is famous for the manatees because they come up to seek out the warmer water that's coming up from out of the ground during the winter time. But if you were standing here 10 to 15,000 years ago, it would look completely different. You might see saber-toothed tigers, tapirs, giant tortoises, and woolly mammoths. Well, woolly mammoths really intrigued me, and they have found 3 separate woolly mammoth carcasses and remains in this springs on different occasions, and they're spread out throughout the state. We do have a little piece right here at Wakulla Springs on display, and also at one of the museums locally you can see an entire woolly mammoth. They are 3 times larger than the distant cousin, the African elephant. Most of you know I grew up in Africa, so that's kind of fascinating to me, having seen African elephants, to just imagine something 3 times that size walking around here. Back then, the springs was just a tiny little trickle coming out of the ground, and obviously this was just a typical watering hole for them. They kind of ranged from this part of Florida up towards the Appalachian Mountains, kind of the North Carolina area, and completely herbivores, just like their distant cousins. Didn't bother anybody, but due to climate change, due to a number of changes through the planet, they are now extinct, and I'm sad to hear that.
Because he'll grow to be about 6 feet long. Now it's my job to get you back safely to the dock, so if you'd all take a seat, bring your elbows and your fingers in from the edge of the boat.
This is a great hotel, but I keep waiting for Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall to show up.
Open the middle door by hand.
Come on. Don't let the door hit you in the back.
Look at this massive arm. We're going to 2. All mechanical. It even smells like 1930. I'm pretty tired, Jason.
I've been tired.
We decided to take a rest day on the Panhandleadventuretrail, you guys, and we could not have picked a better spot. This is Wakulla Spring. Wakulla.
All right, do it again.